Hi, this is Chrissy Green with another video tutorial for the Photography for Beginners Facebook page. This video today is less of my normal here's how to do a thing tutorial and more a walkthrough beginning to end of how I would edit a specific image. Yesterday in the portrait group I posted this portrait of my daughter that I did, and I had also posted the behind the scenes image of what this looked like before. And so the question I got from a couple of people was, well, how did you get from A to B, and could you show us? So that's what I'm going to do today. I will caution you that this is not my normal style of video. I normally don't talk while I work, and I can't guarantee that I will be particularly fascinating on either of those points today, but I will do my best to show you what I would do. So I'm actually going to start with another image from that session. And this is just straight out of camera. It's very bland, slightly underexposed. I didn't move my lighting when I asked her to sit down, and so my hair light here isn't really catching the back of her head the way I was aiming for. But this was a shoot that also took about 2 minutes from the time she got in front of the camera. So the only way my children let me use them is if I can keep it under 5 minutes or less. And yeah, so this was one of those times where I just wasn't going to fuss with my lights, because I know that I can pull from this image what I want to, or I assume I can. I haven't edited this particular one yet. The first thing I always do in Lightroom is go down to enable profile corrections. I'm shooting with my 24 to 85 kit lens, and it does sneak in lens distortion. Not every lens will, but I find with this one, depending on which focal length I'm shooting with, sometimes the distortion is great enough that if I crop my image first and then click that button, I have to go back and recrop again because something got cut out or pushed to the edge too much. I wish Lightroom actually would let me move that to the top, because it would make my workflow a lot easier, and may as well remove chromatic aberration while I'm here. And so the first thing I'm going to do is crop my image. Because I don't really know I don't have specific print goals in mind for this. If I knew this was going to be an 8 by 10 or a 24 by 30 something, then I would probably enter those dimensions now. But I don't really know what I want to do with this, so I'm just going to go with a generic 15 by 11, and that'll give me the most versatility when it comes to printing. And I'm just going to kind of come in a bit tighter on this. I don't really need all of that stuff at the bottom. Now, you'll probably notice I have a different grid up here for cropping than the default. I want to make sure I get all my roses in there, actually. When you're cropping your images in Lightroom, you don't have to stick with a centered crop or a rule of thirds. There's a whole world of crop options out there, including just, the standard, the whatever the heck you feel like kind of a crop. If you're new to portrait photography, I recommend always using something as a guideline, because they are tried and true guidelines. They're here in Lightroom for a reason, and until you develop an eye for composition, you almost can't go wrong if you're following one of these guidelines. This is the one that I already chose for this image. As you can see, the height of the rose bush, and I might actually even make that a bit taller in Photoshop, but the way it falls down, I get a nice diagonal here. There is an area of interest up in the corner, which is nice with the roses, and I'll be moving those in post as well. But you get this grid by hitting O in the crop menu, and if you keep hitting O, you get different crop options. And you can look through them. And if your image aligns with one of these in a nice way, then you can feel confident that you've got a winning composition here, or you have a composition with potential. So when I was deciding how exactly I wanted to crop this image, this is where I went. Because I do feel that the area of interest, there is a good diagonal feeling here. And even this, where it branches up in the corner, I do have another area of interest, just in case your eye happens to go up there. Which is why I put those flowers up there. And it was just, none of this set existed yesterday morning. Those roses are literally hanging on a little clothesline that is tacked to either side of my studio. Will probably fall down at some point today too. So I'm gonna say done on this. And it's not perfect. I do have my my shoot through umbrellas peeking in there. I'm missing some roses over here because my rose bush was limited in how big I could make it. That's stuff I'm going to get in post. I'm not even worried about any of that. Had I not been planning the sky overlay, I would have had to have played with my lights a bit more. You can see I do have some weird shadows here. Not a big deal. I wanted my roses to be lit up. I wanted the light to hit the back of my model, which I think I mentioned already in this version I missed, but we'll get that. I will bring in some of that detail after. So, what I want to do is, adjust the temperature. I always adjust my temperature in post because I like to just control that element of the photography. I will add a little saturation there. I'm going to bring my shadows up a little bit. And there you can start to see that light on the back of her head a little bit. A little bit on her shoulder. And both of those are things that I can adjust later if I want to. The other thing that I will mention is I can adjust the colors using the hue, saturation, and luminance sliders. And my advice here is to always keep it below 70%. Never max out a slider. They may look nice on the computer, and they do look nice in print, but I find that if I push these too far to the max in either direction, then when I put them on Facebook, that's where I notice the compression. I'll notice muddiness, especially in blues and reds. So while I will push the sliders, I will never go to the maximum on those. And just looking for a nice balance of light and dark there between the blues. Really just, it's artistic. It's whatever your eye feels like. The green's a little there. It's whatever your eye wants or feels is working for you from an artistic point of view, until you get to the point where you're actually degrading the quality of your image by pushing these sliders a little too far. I think I'm fairly happy with this when I edit in Lightroom. It is just an initial edit that I go for first, because I know that I'm taking this image into Photoshop to finish it up, well, to do the middle part there. It's like an editing sandwich I do, and then I'll kick it back to Lightroom where everything gets the final polishing touches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this. I'm going to say edit in Photoshop. It will take a minute to load, and I will see you in the next video tutorial or walkthrough accompanying this, where I will show you how I go through Photoshop to get closer to my finished image. And I hope you will join me there. Sorry if my walkthrough is a little on the dull side. Like I said, I'm not really used to talking while I work. I know that a lot of these are done as speed edits, probably for this reason, that it's really boring to listen to somebody talk for this long. But I find the problem with speed edits is that you see what is being done, and you know that, hey, look, this is a thing that can be done, but you're not given any direction on how. So that's why I'm not choosing to do this as a speed edit. Alright, so that's it for this first video. I really hope that you'll join me in the next one. That's where the Photoshop comes out. And then I'll probably have to do a third video where I will show you the final polishing in Lightroom.